You're listening to a New York Jets episode of the Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the team's latest goings-on as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, Jets fans! Welcome to another New York Jets recap here on the Jacob Valk Show. I am Jacob Valk, and we've seen some bad games this year. The Colts game was dreadful. The Dolphins game was dreadful. The Chiefs game was dreadful. The second Dolphins game was dreadful. This may be recency bias talking, but this loss may be the worst one. I don't care if you're a Jets fan that wanted them to lose or a Jets fan that wanted them to win. That performance today is inexcusable. 40-3. You'd be hard-pressed to find any Jet who played well today. Corey Ballantyne, Braden Mann, Neville Hewitt, and Quinnen Williams. That may be it. And even then, Williams wasn't great. The Seahawks did run the ball pretty well. Here's how dreadful the Jets are. The Jets gave up a 19-yard run to Penny Hart. If Penny Hart were to go to the house of any Seahawks fan and deliver them a pizza, that Seahawks fan would have no idea who Penny Hart is. They'd slam the door in his face. The coaching was inept. The offense couldn't get anything going. Darnold barely completes over 50% of his passes. He throws for just 132 yards. Yesterday, I got into a discussion with someone on Sam Darnold. Could he be saved? Under a new coach, could he turn into a good player? After that performance that you just saw, how can you have any faith in Sam Darnold? It's not enough to say that if you get him away from Adam Gase, he'll succeed. That's like saying that if you get James Morgan away from Adam Gase, he'll succeed. You still need to have talent to win in this league. What have you seen from Sam Darnold that makes you think he's talented enough to succeed in the NFL? Ask yourself this: do you want him starting for you? If the answer is no, then what are we arguing about? The kid's a bust. He's one of the biggest busts in NFL history. He's right up there with Ryan Leaf. He's right up there with Jamarcus Russell. He's right up there with RG3. What do you think Sam Darnold would get you if you were to trade him tomorrow? No way a team is giving you a Josh Rosen haul. Josh Rosen, there was a sense of he can start. We can save him. No one wants Sam Darnold starting for him. You know what? Let me tell you, Sam Darnold isn't even the most talented quarterback on the Jets roster. life on the line, if I had to start either Darnold or Joe Flacco, I'm starting Flacco. Flacco had the Patriots game. He had the Chargers game. He's had a couple games where he's looked solid. Has Darnold had some games where he's looked solid? Not really. I'll give you the Raiders. The Raiders, he looked really good. That wasn't Darnold's fault by any stretch. His second best game this year was the 49ers. The Jets only scored 13 points. Joe Flacco has had more good games than Sam Darnold this year. What value does Sam Darnold have? He's a backup. That's how teams are going to value him. They're going to value him as a backup quarterback who maybe, probably not, but maybe can turn into a solid quarterback. Any team that's going to need a starter immediately, they're not going to look at Darnold. If the 49ers get rid of Garoppolo, they're not going to look at Sam Darnold as their future starter. If the Lions get rid of Matthew Stafford, they're not going to look at him as their future starter. Washington won't look at him as their franchise quarterback. The Giants won't. The Patriots won't. The Broncos won't. The only teams that would take a chance on Sam Darnold would be a team with an older quarterback who's definitely going to start for him and will give Darnold time to develop. Those guys don't get second rounders. Sam Darnold may be lucky to get a fourth rounder for the Jets. That's how bad he is. Bench him now. He's only hurting his trade value. Start James Morgan for the final 3 games. Who the hell cares? You're going to lose him anyway. What's the point? I was so despondent watching that game. I had a tough time getting into it. That game was over after Jason Myers kicked the 41-yard field goal. You knew the Jets weren't going to come back from 17-3. They are an embarrassment to the sport. They have players starting for them and playing meaningful roles for them that would have a tough time breaking other teams' practice squads. Sergio Castillo, forget about it. He's going to be off the team by tomorrow. Jaleel Scott. Who the hell is Jaleel Scott? You know it's bad when you have Bryce Hall getting lined up man-to-man, no safety help, with DK Metcalf. Who's going to win that battle? The coaching is disastrous. I haven't been as hard on Gase as other people have, but for God's sake, from not calling a timeout when you heard there was going to be an all-out blitz to finish out the Raiders game to this disaster, what the hell are you doing, man? I get that you're defeated, but for God's sake, show some life. It's inexcusable for an NFL head coach to be doing some of the things he's doing. Pairing him with Dowell Loggins is like watching 2 idiots try to solve a Rubik's Cube. There's no way they're going to do it. With the Jets, Gase is 7-22. If we looked at his career winning percentage and didn't count what he did with the Dolphins, we're just taking the Jets into account here. Gase would have a .24 winning percentage. That would give him the 5th worst winning percentage in NFL history among qualified head coaches. He'd be behind just Burt Bell, Hugh Jackson, Steve Spagnuolo, and Gus Bradley. Is it all his fault? No. I don't think any coach could make these pieces work. But I'll tell you, you've got to give Josh Adams more than 6 carries. Ty Johnson was ineffective. I don't mind him taking a back seat, but for God's sake, stop handing the ball off to Frank Gore. The Jets' running game was good without him. Ty Johnson had over 100 yards. Josh Adams had over 70. Adams today had 6 carries for 27 yards. That's 4.5 yards a carry. That's pretty darn good. Give him the ball. Enough with Frank Gore. I'm done with it. I used to defend it by saying he gives the Jets the best chance of winning. What do you want Gase to do? He's not going to tank. I don't think that's true. I don't think Gore gives the Jets the best chance of winning. It may be a guy like Josh Adams or Ty Johnson. But again, it's not all Gase's fault. No one could make these pieces work. You saw it with the defense. Yes, Greg Williams deserved to be fired. There is no question about that. But even with someone else leading it, being much less aggressive, the Jets' defense gave up 40 points. They haven't given up 40 points in a game this season. There's only so much that anyone could do with this group of scrubs. That's what they are. They're scrubs. They are terrible football players. I mean, the one thing you could have done was neutralize Jamal Adams. He got a sack. He set the record for most sacks by a defensive back in a single season. At least you didn't let Geno Smith throw a touchdown. Thank God for that. You don't have to worry about them winning a game if you're rooting for them to lose. Don't worry about it. They're going to get destroyed by the Rams. They're going to get mutilated by the Browns. And they're going to be humiliated by the Patriots. Bill Belichick would love nothing more than to be the one to give the Jets an 0-16 record. I'll end the show with this, a text that I sent to my buddy Nick. And I'm paraphrasing. It's pretty sad when the most important player to watch, if you're a Jets fan, plays on Saturdays rather than Sundays. Trevor Lawrence can't get here soon enough. I'm still going to give you New York Jets recaps. That's the promise I made before the season started. I'm going to keep it. Regular episodes of The Jacob Valk Show come your way every weekday afternoon. On Tuesday, you're going to get the interview that I did with Jesse Washington, the co-author of John Thompson's autobiography, I Came as a Shadow. Until next time, I am Jacob Valk saying that I was okay the other day until I put my socks in the microwave to dry.